Hello.
Hello.
We are back for another
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. Yes.
And we have stuff to talk about.
Yes.
We have Olympics that have started.
You're right, that completely slipped my mind, but yes, I suppose they have. All I know is that we won one thing but by a woman who had a hammer struck on her foot for medical reasons.
That's what you remember it by.
Well, I remember it because she was like the journalist asked about it, right? Like why did like the doctor do the hammer on your ankle thing? She was like, "Well, I don't want to talk about it." And then continue to explain the whole situation, and then said, "Well, I don't really want to talk about it," and then continue to explain some more of the situation.
I don't want to talk about it. Continues to talk about it. But yeah, I was actually watching it because this was like ice skating. What was it? A 1 kilometer for women.
It was the 1 kilometer for women, yeah.
I did actually watch because my mom watches it because apparently, like I've seen this with multiple parents at this point, especially moms, who just like watching it here in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And apparently the men are kind of bad at it. They aren't scoring as well. But, yeah. There's the Olympic stuff. We have Dutch politics to talk about. Because I have my opinions. And I assume you do as well.
Probably.
But I feel like you could talk. You know a little bit more about it than I do.
Give me 1 sec. I am slightly distracted.
Hmm. Because well,
I. Okay. Oh, fuck.
I mean, I do otherwise have some things to talk about in the
Okay.
meantime. Because as we know, we have a coalition that is a minority, which means that in order to get
Indeed.
a majority, they have to get some of the opposition to vote for them to vote with them as well. Well, they tried to get a vote through which would increase the amount of votes needed to get one seat as sort of an incentive to remove like the smaller parties. The opposition, mainly consisting of said smaller parties, all said no to it. All 88 seats that are in the opposition said no, meaning it immediately fell through. To me, that's incredible. Like, how do you
Pretty
mess it up at this point?
unusual.
Like, having everybody against you instead of just. Like, not even one or two from the opposition that were like, alright, sure. No, everyone. It's. I feel like that's just something that is going to happen a lot with this current political climate, or basically the current parties. I feel like it's going to be a very common and dumb thing that's going to happen over and over again until this political madness finally falls and we get to vote again. It's still a miracle that they managed to form a coalition even. Yeah, have you found stuff in the
Right. Anyway, I am not distracted anymore. What was the thing I have an opinion about according to you?
Well, you have more. Now you have more facts with your opinion. The coalition stuff.
Oh, just
Who gets
the whole thing.
who gets what position? Because they decided from the three parties
Oh,
what party
right.
or like which person becomes, for example, the minister of finance.
Yeah, I have not really seen much about that yet. I know that Yazugas really wants the person who did it last time to do it again.
From what I understand, she became minister of defense, I think.
Yeah, she is defense.
Yeah, which to me is weird, but we'll see how well that goes.
I don't know if that's weird. To be fair, she is quite defensive of her own opinions, so.
Yeah. And also quite defensive over working together with different parties.
Yeah.
You know, the whole she was the one being stubborn and not wanting to work together with more left parties. Meaning from what I understand, she's basically the main reason that it became a minority coalition instead of a majority one.
Yes.
That's from my understanding. It could be entirely different, but yeah, we're now officially going to have our first openly gay prime minister.
Yes. He's gonna have to meet up with Trump at some point.
I really want to see that.
I kinda do too.
I wonder if Trump knows at all. And if so, if that even
question.
If he would suspect it, if he would be more hostile, or if he'd just be like, "Oh, you're a world leader," sure. I think it's all just a matter of how well he is with words. Because for Trump, just saying the right things, because Trump is a businessman. If you throw enough buzzwords at him, he's gonna enjoy your company.
AI. Boom! You win.
AI, war, guns,
AI war.
money. If you throw enough buzzwords at him, he'll probably think, "All right, this is good. I can work with this."
Buzzword.
If you just say buzzword, he immediately gets interested.
Buzz Lightyear. Alright, maybe we should stop this.
It is funny though. You cannot deny it's not funny. But yeah. Also, Trump also wants to decide his own rule, sort of his own rules with the voting that's going to happen around this year, probably halfway through his term.
Does that happen halfway through? Does it not happen in the final year?
Yeah, but if it like, from understanding, they have like an in-between vote.
Oh, I see.
And he wants to apparently decide his own rules on the voting, which probably means you're only allowed to vote in favor. But I haven't really read into the article
in
though.
this in-between vote, can you like vote him out? Is that an option?
Not sure.
Because if that's the case, that would be why he would want to have his own rules.
Yeah, because he would definitely be voted out at this point.
Yeah. Also, Jules, is it that difficult to keep your car straight?
No, it's difficult because if I go straight up, the car stalls. I physically can't get straight up the hill. If this is the angle, if you look at this angle,
Right.
of course I have to.
Okay.
But yeah, now I can go straight again. In first gear. Maybe second gear? No, second gear is too much. And I stalled because I tried to look for my phone. Let me get on the handbrake and turn my phone on to see more news articles. What else do we have?
Well, actually, I do have some fun and still about the Netherlands, like our Dutch political situation. So after the agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
The VVD, who Yasukas didn't really say much to like journalists. Like it was, it was like, oh, we're happy with it. It's done. All that, right? Across the country, they placed the billboards with like all positive, well, in VVD's eyes, positive things. One of which I don't fully understand, but we'll get to that. That they've achieved in that agreement, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like, look, you're allowed to be happy with it, but this is a little ridiculous. So, a Dutch TV show, a satire TV show, made an image that looked very much like their billboards. Like, had like the same font, the same kind of style, everything. That was like, kind of to mock her a little bit, kind of, just poking fun. And it was like, wouldn't it be funny if this billboard was all over the country? And it will be.
Wait, the satire one will actually be spread?
They rented a bunch of billboards across the line, like next to highways to put the billboards.
Okay, we're gonna have to find some of them.
I don't know if they would still be up. Like I imagine it's quite expensive to keep that up for a longer time. I can see what was on it. What is billboard in Dutch? For some reason, I can't think of it. Het landsbelang boven die landsbelang.
Hmm.
That's what it says.
Yeah, you might as well flip those around.
Oh, yep, yeah, I see the pictures here. They're actually there.
Because the party system is basically all there for, the richer people of the country.
Oh, and of course, the Telegraaf sees it as a challenge.
Challenge for what?
Arjen Lubach daagt VVD uit met opvallende snelwegcampagne.
Yeah, of course it's
So-
Lubach, of
So
course.
Lubach challenges VVD. It's not. It's not a.
It's
what?
satire. Satire isn't a. If satire is a challenge,
No,
then you might be challenged.
it's not a challenge. It's just poking fun.
Yeah, but often the people from those parties are either older or they do not understand what humor is and think that everything is literally, and if they see something that could potentially be an insult, they see it as an insult even though it could be just satire. You could be poking fun at them and they'll still be insulted. Somehow. So, yeah. But also,
All right.
what I'm still mad about, because recently, I've probably already talked to this, but recently I got new glasses. They arrived this Thursday, so by the time this podcast goes up, I'll already have them. I'll be wearing them. But apparently, if you have the most basic package for health insurance, which is, I think, necessary here, it's
Yes.
yeah.
You're required to have some level of it.
Yeah, but if you have the minimal level, glasses are not in there. So apparently, the Dutch government thinks that eyesight is not important enough.
Of course not.
Even though I got like buy one get one free, and I got polarizing sunglasses and everything, I got a little bit fancy glass or plastic in there because it's not glass anymore, at least. I paid €510 for it. The glasses themselves, the frame, was already $150. So, of course, you have one for like $75, but there are people that can't even afford that. And like they literally have to ration their food every month to, pay your rent. And they are apparently not allowed to see. Because of course they would get the cheapest health insurance. But nope, they are not allowed to get the cheapest. They're not allowed glasses. They might need that to work, to earn money. So, in my opinion, glasses should at least a single bit of, like, usually if you have more, covering health insurance, you get like €150 as a gift for like, yeah, you get once every 3 years, you get 150, and you buy your glasses with that. Yeah, that won't. That should be in the basic package. But no, it isn't. Which frustrates me. To the point where I'm sometimes actually thinking of contacting politicians to talk about it.
I don't think they would respond.
If I message enough of them, it might come up.
Yeah, some of the smaller ones, maybe. I mean, if you want to really contact them, you start a petition and get enough, people backing you.
Yeah, but it also requires a bunch of advertising, because if you just make the petition, nobody's going to see it.
Get the billboards.
You realize how much that's going to cost?
Yes. Well, no, I have no idea what that costs, but I don't really want to know either.
Yeah, it's probably going to be quite expensive to run those.
Well, keen watchers of today's ramble, would you back Bush?
Would you sign a petition for a little bit of cash towards people that require glasses? Like, if you, as a failsafe, you could sort of say, alright, you can get the glasses, but you are to provide a eye test result, like a result from an eye test that specifically indicates I need them. And only then are you allowed your yearly, or your, once every 3 year, bit of cash, because that would mean that if your eyes are still good enough, they won't give it to you. But if your eyesight is bad enough, then they would have to give it to you, without complaining. But yeah, that's just me.
How dare you say such outrageous things, Bush?
How dare I say such outrageous things as the poor may need more money?
Outrageous things like healthcare is important.
Yes, how dare I say something so blasphemous as health insurance is important, or health in general.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn you over to the CIA.
Also,
Or ICE.
we might have to be concerned about the platform we're currently using to call
What,
Discord.
Wait,
Because
why?
in March, Discord is going to implement a feature that is to protect the children. Age
Oh, I
verification.
see.
You're either going to have a sort of face scan, or you have to give a valid ID. Otherwise,
Right.
features might be locked. And they might ask it again, because, there might be a chance that you faked it.
Okay.
Or the AI that they're going to be training with said data interprets it wrong.
Okay, question though. What features do we use that would require that?
Well, if I understand, it is going to involve things like friend requests that are gonna be more, gonna have more warnings surrounding them.
I mean, that's fine.
Potential, like, I feel like not safe for work, not stuff, or spoiler stuff, not being able to unblur it. But that's just.
I mean, I don't think I'm on any server where I'm at risk of encountering that, so.
Well, sometimes things say.
Actually, that is not true because we recently joined one with a couple friends that I do not trust entirely. That wouldn't be the case, to be honest, but,
Yeah, it's also a little bit of a whole bunch of, like, do we really. I mean, if you, let's say you want to surprise someone with an image, like just as a genuine, I have something to show you, but it's a surprise, and you put it as a spoiler, or you're discussing a movie that not everybody has watched. That means you could put up images as spoilers. That's
yes,
good. But if that feature's
yes.
blocked, then yeah, because I ain't giving any company that isn't like a travel agency, which would, or the government, my passport.
Government is not a company.
Well, some people see it that way. Trump.
I know, and it's very dumb.
Like, I'm not gonna give big corporations my ID, because we've grown up with don't share all your information on the internet, especially not your government issued ID or stuff like that. That's what we grew up with. Like, don't share any sensitive information. And now that teaching's getting challenged by greedy corporations that think we could squeeze more money out of the average person by selling their ID for identity theft. Also, Discord is not the most secure platform.
Well, okay, I do know that, yeah.
It had a big data breach last year, a couple months ago, like October. So it basically boils down to are we going to go back to sending mail in person or calling to, like, using your phone to call? Or are you going to sell all your data and basically give big corporations a lot more power? Because if they're also going to use an AI algorithm to, check. Like, first, you're going to see, you only have to do the ID check if they think you are underage. So, before that, we quickly have to send Jim. We have to send a bunch of not safe for work images that could only be sent by adults in order to make sure that we aren't, that they know we aren't children. To deal with it that way, because then they know. And yeah, that it's gonna be a whole mess, and more platforms are doing it all, and it all started in the UK of all places. I mean, of course, it's the UK, but this is just starting to become annoying. Because as I said before, I don't want to give big corporations all my data. They don't deserve it. What they deserve is to make money by selling an actual good product. Like products that don't fail after like 5 years. But of course, it isn't good for business because then people only buy one, and they don't have to buy one for the next 10 years, so they don't have revenue for the next 10 years. Because that's the whole thing. Companies need to make a product that breaks quick enough so they can replace it, and it costs more money as well. So they make more money. And then we end up in a situation we are currently in. Products break quickly, are very difficult to repair, and it's only getting worse. And of course, not everybody knows how to repair everything, but there can be, shops for that. Independent shops. Ones that aren't a scam. Oh yeah, and the French, some of like the French government is in trouble. Or the French state technically, because they've been sued by families for baby food, which contained 50, almost 50 liters of blood. Never mind. But like, it contained an illegal amounts of some stuff that ended up being fatal for two babies. Because babies are notoriously fragile when it comes to, their bodies and how they've developed and, how they are. Because they're still developing. And they don't have any, resistances build up. Like, they may have some from their parents, but not a lot. So if you give them baby food with an illegal amount of stuff in it, then yeah, you can say goodbye to your kid, which nobody wants. And yet, companies try to get away with large profit And quality checks cost money. And of course, quality checks means less products making it out the door, means less revenue, which is also less money. So, yeah. We're kind of stuck with big corporations taking over everything, aren't we?
Wow.
But
That's
oh well.
just how it goes.
Apparently, it doesn't have to be. I mean, we the consumer hold the power. If we all stop buying a certain product, or a lot of us stop buying a product, a company will go bankrupt. Because of the loss of revenue that they suddenly experience. Then again, Spotify grew a lot. From 76 million to 751 million users. Like they multiplied their users by almost like tenfold. It is just, and I somewhat get it. It is a very convenient and easy to use platform for, playing music, finding new music, especially. Because from experience, the Discover Weekly that you can get on Spotify sometimes comes with very good music. Maybe even new artists to listen to, which you would otherwise never find. But still, that's why in my car I have an SD card with songs downloaded on it, because that's how that works. You download the music onto your SD card, you shove the SD card in your car, and that's how you do it. Now, congratulations, you got music to listen to. But yeah. What else do we have that is news? We have. Oh yeah, something that I found out, which I found somewhat funny, is there's gonna be a place for children to go to when they are, being discriminated against.
Okay.
And then they can like they're probably going to be like, yeah, we recommend having a talk with like the school, the club, or others, so they can take action. But then I thought about it, and it may sound incredibly pessimistic, but when has that ever worked?
Fair.
Apart from solving it temporarily, like maybe for like a few weeks before everything starts over again, because what are you going to do? They aren't going to stop until they got solid consequences. But they never get them. Apart from in Japan, apparently, where you can be denied access to prestigious schools if you have a record of bullying. Which you should implement everywhere. Just, oh, you're a bully? Well, good luck getting into schools. Of course, it could push them over the edge of, or push them towards being actual proper assholes. But it would also deter a bunch of them from actually doing it. Because now, if they think, oh yeah, well, if I bully now, then later in life I will be suffering a lot. But that requires thinking ahead, and people don't tend to do that. That's what you often see in traffic. Because guess what? It's more complaining for me about traffic. Because people don't stop being dumb on the road. Especially when it is regarding the art of switching lanes. Because I've noticed on multiple occasions now that, like even today when driving home, I saw somebody going from my left, going behind me, go to my right, and then go behind me again, because apparently they were at the wrong lane. And yes, it was a BMW.
Nice.
Because of course it was. They are known to drive like perfect citizens. If you can't tell that satire, you might be a BMW driver. Use your indicator. It is not difficult. It frustrates me to no end when people just make a sideways movement or go on or go off a roundabout without using their indicators. What are they there for? Decoration? Are they there as like Christmas lighting? Now to turn on, you think, oh, now it's festive to do it? No, it's there to actually indicate, yo, I'm making a sideways movement. Watch out, instead of having to guess. Now, sometimes you often see it coming when they're going to do a move because they're going to match people's speed. They're going to change their behavior slightly so they can merge in without problem. But it would still be nice to know when they're doing it. Instead of just, I go now, good luck everybody else, and then going. You can tell I'm a bit frustrated by this. Also, on the way back today, I saw a car that didn't have working brake lights.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's incredible. Not being able to, see the car braking. I really hope that somebody rear ends them with a dash cam. And then they get to pay a whole lot of money because they realize, oh wait, I'm at fault because my car didn't function properly. Because you're going to be held liable. You're not going to be getting out of that one very quickly. Probably because you got rear-ended at high speeds. By someone who was looking for brake lights. Because even I tend to do that when, you're approaching a traffic light. You go looking for the 3 lights that light up. And if they don't, then you're immediately confused at why isn't the car indicating it's slowing down while it is slowing down. once again, make sure you're safe on the road. It's a lot more pleasant for you, for me, for everybody. And all it costs is just a little bit more care. Because you too want to arrive safely home.
Usually.
And not, within either in a hospital in like 100 pieces or in a coffin. Now you want to arrive home safe, so you can continue playing games or watching this podcast. Yeah, I also have gaming news
Do we?
regarding Blizzard and Overwatch 2, which are dropping the 2, going back to Overwatch, which, why make the change in the first place? What kind of Coca-Cola tactics are this? The reason I'm saying that is because Coca-Cola did actually pull a move like that. They made the new, like they said, we're going to change the recipe. Nobody really liked the new recipe. So then they released Coca-Cola Classic, which is just the recipe before they changed it, the old recipe. Then everybody bought that, but of course you mark it up a little bit because it's old. It's the classic one. So Overwatch became Overwatch 2, flopped, became Overwatch again. Which is probably also going to flop because they had drama with characters. Because they released a new character, which means there are going to be a bunch more. Like Overwatch is just, they release a new hero for every different playstyle, instead of giving them a couple characters and allowing modifications to that playstyle. But they got complaints that the faces looked way too familiar to the rest. Even going so far as just like, you remove the hair, and you add another person's hair on top of that. Oh, look, it's the same person. Like they just reuse the face model. It's dumb. And they have changed it, but if you have a lot of different characters, you appease a lot more people instead of having one style.
Yes.
If you have a lot of different characters, then you can, of course.
But also, that seems hard.
Well, you just change the 3D model a little bit. Like, you change a couple numbers.
Yeah, but that's work.
Yeah, what else are you supposed to do at your place of employment?
Sit back and laugh at all the people that actually buy your product.
Or actually work towards making a good product, because that's what keeps your company alive and you are proud of your work.
I'm curious how many people who work for Ubisoft are proud of their work. I'm gonna be real.
None, probably.
It sounds very mean to say.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprised if that company would be around for all too long, Like back in the day, they made such good games. They just completely shitified themselves. And also, keeping on top of gaming, either someone in the UK, I think someone in the UK sued Steam for 900 million saying that they had a monopoly on the
I mean,
the
I get.
market. But the thing is, with Steam, you like because they were saying you take a 30% cut from all like you take a 30% cut from the sales, just like all the other platforms. They, Steam is one of the platforms which has a lot of sales. You have summer sale, winter sale, autumn sale, spring sale. You have a sale for
Yeah.
every single thing, even genres. They have a
Yeah.
sale for. Like, just think of anything, and it'll probably have a sale for that. Meaning, if you want to buy a Steam game, just wait a little bit. It's probably going to be 50% off at some point. So you don't have to buy it at full price. So yeah, they also were complaining that if you buy the game on Steam, you couldn't buy like a DLC on Epic Games and then use that. It was ridiculous. Like
That makes sense.
if you buy the DLC on another platform as you've bought the game, then then of course you aren't going to be able to play the DLC because you just bought a DLC from a different platform. Now you have to think you have to have common sense, which is getting less and less common these days, so I might as well just call it sense. Because it's not common anymore. The things with Steam as well, like you don't have to buy games from Steam. You can still go to other platforms. You can still go to the Xbox store and buy games there for whatever weird or wrong reason you have. Trust me, I've played Forza Horizon 5 with a friend. You can almost never get it to work properly on the first try. Meanwhile, with Steam, you can just send an invite, they get the invite, they click the invite, boom, you're now playing a game together. That's also
Like,
something with Steam. They just don't do shit and they win. Like they don't
but like, don't
change.
they get like lawsuits like that? Like,
Yeah, every once in a
with the
while from
fault
somebody who's
thing?
salty.
Because it's not even. The funny thing is, they don't have a monopoly. Like, they didn't necessarily go for that. It's just that no one else apparently knows how to have a fucking game store.
Like Steam does nothing, wins. It is just like they know that they realize, oh wait, this works, right? This service works properly. People like how it works. All right, then we are not touching it at all because they realize that if it works, you don't touch it. People keep using it. People get used to it. People like it. For example, this Steam Workshop. It's this incredible place where, from it depends on the game, of course, you can upload creations, skins, all that kind of stuff, and other people can take it, down or subscribe to it or download it and use it on their game. For example, Team Fortress 2 has a bunch of taunts and a bunch of skins, all that stuff. Stormworks, a bunch of creations, a bunch of, everything. Automation, a bunch of mods. Those are all games which get great support from, the Steam Workshop. And also, Steam customer support is known for being good. Like, for example, your account gets stolen or hacked. Steam will, like you might not get if they delete stuff, then you might not get that back because it's deleted now. But you will still get your account back. Steam is very serious about that, and that is something that you're missing with all the other stores. Also, Steam's great return policy. You buy a game, you can return it within 2 hours.
I mean, honestly, it depends on the game you're talking about, to be honest. Because for some games, 2 hours is like not enough.
For some games you can, yeah, for some games like 2 hours. Well, it is and isn't enough at the same time. Like it is enough. Like for some games, 2 hours you barely even played the game. But other games, 2 hours is enough to complete it. Meaning, in
Yeah.
theory, you can start the game, you can buy the game, play the game, return the game, done. You could do that. However, why would you do that? If you've played the game and you enjoyed it, you played it a bunch, you're probably going to play it for longer than 2 hours. I mean, I have Steam games where of over 400 hours. Because, if you. It's also a bit of, once again, common sense and, rational thinking. It's like, when you are going to buy a game, think, do I really want this game? Or am I still thinking about buying said game? Because I'm not sure if I'll actually play it enough. And then you make the realization I need to still think about it a little bit. Maybe watch some more content about it to figure out if this game is indeed right for me. Always try to make an informed decision on any potential problem that arises instead of just going for it and whoops. I mean, we all make bad financial decisions. Don't get me wrong. I bought Forza Horizon 5 Premium Edition for €90. Not worth it. At all. And Forza Horizon 6 will be €120 for the premium version. And I get it. Big game is big. But this is getting ridiculous with pricing. It'll probably very laggy, very unoptimized. In the meantime, I'm not sure if Helldivers has actually already implemented this in the main version. But if you buy it on Steam, you can choose to maybe get slightly worse performance. But your file size gets to be like almost goes from 150 to 20 to like 25 gigabytes. That is optimization. Game studios need to go back to that. Because if they don't, and especially with the current RAM and PC part market, they are gonna lose money on all the games they make. Purely because nobody has the PC to play them. Only maybe like some YouTubers. Then it could be seen as Jeff Bezos' big plan, because he has already said, and I think we talked about this last time as well, that he wants, that he sees the future of gaming as something that you do in the cloud. So you pay a monthly subscription, much like GeForce Now, to basically rent computing power to play a game. And I have used my fair share of GeForce Now. I didn't pay for it, which meant that you only got 1 hour, and after that hour you got shoved into the back of the queue again, so you may have to wait 5 minutes before you can play another hour. But as a kid with a PC that barely ran any game at all, that was fine. I could deal with that. It gave me performance that I couldn't afford. And yet, The way I see it currently is that the video gaming market is just gonna go bad. Nobody's gonna be able to play the games they buy because of PC, because how unoptimized it is. Nobody's going to be able to play or like even, you know, buy the games because they don't have any money left over from buying the PC parts. Yeah, the market ain't looking great for gaming.
The thing with that, you hear that a lot, but that completely depends on what you're talking about. Because bigger Western companies, yeah,
Like the
but like
big,
indie is thriving, and FromSoft is thriving.
yeah, the good companies, they are thriving. Like, but mainly talking about like EA, Blizzard, Ubisoft,
Yeah,
all those big companies, they are
yeah,
failing. They are losing money. At least as far as I know, they are losing money. They might as well be making a profit with subscription based stuff, especially for EA, knowing how scummy they are with money. But yeah, like indie is really doing well because, well, there isn't really anywhere else to look for good quality games. Ah,
hello.
Hello.
hello. We have another person.
We just finished eating.
Wow.
Well, we've been going for like an hour.
Yes, I
56
know.
minutes.
No, 1 hour and 1 minute and 42 seconds. One
Not,
hour, one
not if
basically
I,
1 hour 2 minutes.
not if I look at my recording.
Well, okay, I'm looking at the timer of the call.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So.
that one is a bit longer.
What?
But I have found some more news regarding
Well, you went on
schools.
this here now.
Yes, but I've
So?
something regarding schools and news. That the amount of people going to universities and HBOs, the higher levels of education, the amount of people going there is decreasing. Potentially because they're realizing that you get a lot of debt for a little bit of gain in.
Very dependent on your field, I will say.
Yeah, with engineering, of course, it's going to be like people are still, desperate for engineers, desperate for technical people. So you're probably going to get more out of seeking a higher education than, for example, business or, marketing. Like, yeah, the fields that are already sort of full of, they have saturated markets. They are going to struggle. You seek higher education, you go like 20, maybe 50,000 in debt. All that for, when you're fighting for the same jobs that people with a lower education are going for. Meaning that you are getting almost the same pay because, they can ask that. Because there will be some desperate person that will actually take it. And yeah.
So, there was almost a train collision today, but luckily it didn't happen.
Ooh.
But
How
it
so?
was quite close.
How? Tell us more.
Um, you seem a little excited about this, Shul. I don't know.
Don't worry
Are
about
you
me.
worried?
Don't worry.
Right. So I was in the train, and then the train hit the brakes, and I'm like 2 to 3 minutes later, we heard the conductor say like, "Yeah, I almost hit someone," and he was completely, almost in shock, but not quite.
That is understandable, you especially depending on what you're going to hit. if you're going to hit a
A
delivery,
little girl.
yeah, I was about to say if you're going to hit a delivery van in the back, you are less likely to be shocked and more likely to be concerned than almost hitting a little girl who doesn't understand how dangerous train tracks can be.
Yes, it was at a train crossing, so it's most likely not intentional.
Yeah, it'll probably not. I assume that as well, but still, you know, I think there
Well,
was
you
even
say
this.
that, but considering it was hang low, the reputation does perceive itself.
Yeah, but I think I saw a thing about it as well, like a sort of a slogan, which was "See rails, think train." So if you see train tracks, or see track, think train, where it's you see train tracks, you automatically assume that a train could be approaching at any second, and you should first look at a potentially oncoming train. Because if there is indeed a train
Yes.
oncoming, then you can either stop, which is the preferable thing to do, or, send it and try and make it that
Yeah.
way. Which I don't recommend
Like
because
you're doing right now. What are you doing? Why don't just drive the road?
road too steep.
I asked the same question.
I'm currently in second gear because road is quite steep.
Well, that means you still have a first.
This is first. I'm stalling out in first gear. Almost, at least.
Right. Yes. Why is there a Kalashnikov in the back? Right.
It's the long drive. Don't question it.
I am very much questioning it.
What, you mean the shotgun and revolver with the sausages? Or
Not sausages.
or the car radiator filled with water that I use to drink out of?
A weird game.
Yeah, it's a long drive.
I don't have a lot of news to talk about. I don't think. Lubach is back. I guess that's about it.
I already talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Well, specifically about how he changed the billboards.
Yes, that was very funny.
Wait, can you, if somebody has paid for a billboard, can you then come in and say, "Hey, can I have that billboard for a higher price?"
Yeah, that's what bidding is called. You bid to earn the place on the billboard. That's how that works.
Yeah, but like somebody has put the ad up there, and like you see that ad.
I don't think you can take it down for money. No, you just have to reserve it for the next time.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be incredibly funny. What else do we have news-wise?
I don't know. What has Trump been doing?
Being
I'm
scuffed.
sure there's some ridiculous news there, right?
Also, multiple, like, what is it? What is the word again? Gemeente in English. Municipalities, I think, have said that they aren't going to work together with a very right-wing party. Which, to me, is somewhat hilarious.
It's floppy.
Because, right-wing party with actual, like, they got a question, like, has one of your like party members been involved with any very far right groups? And she said she wanted to talk more. She sort of dodged the question, which is which is already an answer on itself. It is basically saying yes. Like, you're not getting around that one. The answer is just going to be yes. If politicians dodge the question, then it's most likely the most negative answer.
Okay, so okay, so apparently there's a new bridge between Detroit and Canada, which Trump is trying to block,
Why?
even though the bridge already exists.
So wait, he's trying to block the construction?
No, the bridge already exists. He tries to shut the bridge down.
How do you want to do that? Like, put a roadblock on the U.S. side?
Yep, pretty much.
No, it's just gonna cost more money and manpower, right?
I don't know
Whatever,
why he's doing it.
whatever floats your goat, right? Floats your
Close your bridge.
whatever. Oh, actually, we
wait.
haven't talked yet about how Belgium.
Okay, so the bridge is owned by
Michigan.
Why? Michigan and Canada, but is being paid for almost entirely by Canada.
So Canada's paying for it, and Trump doesn't
Yeah,
agree with the bridge.
He's doing
That
the wall
sounds
thing
familiar.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Canada for what he called unfair trade deals and threatened to block the opening of the bridge until the United States has fully compensated for everything we have given.
Well, but they didn't. Like, did they pay for the construction?
No, Canada did.
So they didn't pay for shit. Yes, yet they expect pay.
Yeah,
Like
but
this.
that's for a completely different issue, and he's just using the bridge as leverage.
Ah.
Okay, next subject. Trump's isolation of Cuba dries up nation jet fuel supplies, forcing airlines to adjust.
Yeah, they basically ran out of fuel there. So if you want to go to Cuba, you basically have to make sure the plane has enough fuel for the way back.
There will be more support for Cuba. Okay, who said this?
But the thing with
Mexico. So Mexico is now
Cuba is
providing Cuba with humanitarian aid.
the thing with Cuba, if you look throughout history, is even though it's right on the U.S. doorstep, basically, it's like, right there, below Florida. It has been somewhat more on the communist side throughout history, especially with, I think, Castro, where he was buddies with the USSR instead of the U.S. And the U.S. being, capitalism and basically afraid of communism, the big red, that meant that, they started, putting sanctions, putting import, like, that's the reason there's such a big amount of old cars there. Because they aren't allowed to import anything new.
Yeah, so apparently they have been indeed sanctioning Cuba for 6 decades.
Yes. Which to me seems a little bit overkill.
What?
Although, we do have to say Cuban Missile Crisis.
Well, yes.
That whole...
But right now, the economy just cannot grow because America is like, yeah, no, we decided you can't.
Yeah.
Hey, Jules.
Yes.
We haven't talked about Belgium yet.
What has Belgium done this time?
We're gonna have to pay
to
drive on their shitty roads.
Oh yeah, they wanna... Well, they want you to put a little sticker in your window. And you have to pay for that sticker to be allowed to drive there.
I'm sure it's not difficult to just print more stickers here.
Well, the problem is their roads are shit, so they probably want us to want the tourists driving through the country because, to be honest, Belgium is mainly a country you go through to get to France. Or Spain.
Well, the Alps is nice, but that's about it. Yeah,
Exactly.
and Francorchamps, I guess.
Yeah. There are like a couple places in Belgium that are good. But apart from that, it is mainly just,
Yeah, well, the thing is, we mainly use Belgium to go to France.
exactly.
Yeah,
we
that's
use it
its main purpose.
we use it as a place to drive through. It's a drive-through country.
Yeah, so we have to go to shitty Netherlands to go to shitty France to get to France,
Yes.
basically.
We have to go through southern Netherlands to northern France to go to, yeah. It is a bit scuffed, and that means that, oh no, we'll have to go through Germany now. We have to go through the Autobahn. Oops. If it even goes south. Because not all highways are an Autobahn, and, you're not allowed to do unlimited speed everywhere. That is something that I don't think a lot of people know all that well. They just know, oh well, German highway. You're allowed to drive as fast as you possibly can, or as fast as you want. But there are still speed limits, They still have a limit in some places, which means you can't just drive 200 kilometers per hour and not expect a German police officer behind your car in after a bit of traveling. So either you're gonna go through Belgium and pay a bunch of money to drive on their shitty roads, which in 10 years will probably be slightly less shitty, because then they would have collected enough money and pocketed enough money to
What is the gravity in that game, Jules?
it's scuffed.
Yeah,
Gravity.
well, look at how fast he's going from just gravity.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Which gravity?
My
He
speedometer
don't
went
just go
all the way.
downwards. Gravity increases his speed.
Yeah, that's usually what it does.
Oh.
Yeah, those poles on the right hand side are often a killer if you hit them at full
Right.
speed.
You say while going 160 kph by just the force of gravity.
Well, um, there we go. My car wasn't stopping. That's how steep this hill is. But what else do we have? Oh yeah. Apparently, some parents left their child in the car while they went shopping. The child was left in the car the entire evening. And once they got back to the car, which was, let me see, yeah, they could only reach the parents around 1:45 a.m. So the kids basically spent this entire evening and part of the night in a car alone. So when the police finally got to them, they got a stern talking to, and at the time I heard it on the radio at work, and the cop in, or at least handhaving, So the officer in question sounded absolutely pissed. He was mad. Because you simply leave your child, which, let's see how old the child was. Oh, two children even. 13 and 15 years old. So they left a couple teenagers in the car alone.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Well,
Depends. Did they lock the car or something?
I don't know, but the parents went shopping. They went to see a movie, and then they ended up going to a casino. At that
Okay,
point,
so it's not like, hey, you'll stay in the car. I'm gonna go to the shop real quick. I'll be back in like half an hour.
yeah,
Because that's fine.
this was an entire evening worth of like partying.
Right. So it was probably also like 3 o'clock at that point.
It was 1:45.
Yeah. Okay.
So they got away with a
Okay. I'm
warning for
starting to see
now.
the
But
problem here. Yeah.
yeah, like if you also, if your children are 13 and 15, if you raise them right, or you might
Just
need
leave them at home.
leave them at home, call a grandma or something, or a family member, ask them, hey, do you want to babysit for a bit?
Yeah. I mean, I was home alone fairly often when I was 15. It's not that weird.
No, it's just, of course, you need to be raised right and basically need to be taught, all right, well, if anything were to happen, call me. If, you know,
Like,
if there's a weird
like usually my
situation,
sister wasn't there. She would still have to go to whatever they're going.
yeah, but like
But
15
basically, it
years
should
old,
be fine.
you're conscious enough to make your own informed decisions at that point in time.
Relatively speaking, yes.
Like, you should be able to, of course, you're going to stay up late because you're a child. That is to be expected at that age. And you are, you know, the only thing you're going to be doing realistically is either watching something, gaming, and eating snacks. That is, in theory, what you're going to be doing.
Yes, pretty much.
So, yeah. So you could have left, and of course, if the 15-year-old is responsible enough, you could basically say, all right, also keep an eye on your little brother or sister who is 13, which is also still, even though it's on the young side, and I wouldn't trust them to be entirely alone. If you have a 15-year-old there, you know, that should still, I mean, I would still call like either a grandma, grandpa, or some other family member. Like my sister used to
Just make
babysit.
sure that they can contact someone if it's not going well, like a neighbor or
Yeah, but like
someone.
when my cousin, or my niece, I think is the right word, needed babysitting my sister, would occasionally do it, and there would be some pay, of course, because you are taking an evening out to do something when you might have other stuff planned, logistics and everything. But there was still somebody for her. Of course, she was a little bit younger, like maybe 8 or 10. So then you would expect somebody to be there. But if you're 15 and 13, just get a family member to do it. And if they don't want to do it, then maybe cancel your plans because you decided to get children. Just wait 2 more years, and then they're 15 and 17. Then you can definitely leave them alone together. And as you said, you would just give them either a phone number, like in case of emergencies, go to the neighbors or call me, or just, and if it's really bad, you call, in case of Netherlands, 112, the emergency number, to make sure that if something were to happen, like maybe they fall off the stairs, that they know what to do. Maybe write it on a piece of paper and put it on the table, like, if you don't know what to do and there's an emergency situation, look at this piece of paper. It will tell you what to do. that shouldn't that should basically be the easiest way to, make sure that your children are safe enough when you are, gone for an evening. It was, hold on, what? Wait, hold on. I really need to look at this for a second. There was body cam footage where you could actually, like, you could hear how pissed the officer was. And upon the question if, the mother thought it was normal to do this, she responded with saying that her daughter had McDonald's. This is getting, and apparently it wasn't the first time.
Well, okay, that kind of makes sense. Makes more sense that it's a repeat offense if you do something like that.
Oh. Yeah. Ooh, they did basically get a warning that if this happens again, so, if they were to find the children in the car alone again, that they'll be taken to the police station, and the parents will lose the child or the children.
Okay, that's
Well, that is
quite
understand
extreme.
that isn't extreme in my
But
opinion,
yes.
because it has happened multiple times already, and this is only the first time that they've been caught, which means they'll probably do it again.
Otherwise, yeah, maybe something that extreme is necessary. I don't know. I'm not a sociology expert or
Me
anything.
neither, but I feel like if they did it a bunch of times already, that they're more likely to do it again than, if it's the first time doing it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
It's just, it does show you how that parenting skills have declined. Like, I've noticed, especially with fat bikes, that there seems to be a significant or somewhat a decline in the quality of parenting. To me, it seems there's a lot less respect towards, other people.
Especially authority.
Yeah, because even though questioning authority is sometimes necessary, I'll admit that sometimes, you have to ask the question, is this the right thing or is this just abuse of power? However, always questioning authority can become very annoying, and, not listening, well, you'll probably see them on the news.
Eventually.
Yeah, or if you still read the paper, on the last page. Which, for those who don't get that, in the Netherlands, it's basically, I'm not sure if it's around the world as well. It is the page with all the dead people. Usually it's just a bunch of elderly people who passed away that are put in there. But apart from that, yeah. Let's see. You know how we had a, a tax scandal, like a couple years ago, toeslagaffaire, where People would get
Yeah, I was about to say, you're gonna be a little more specific than that.
where people, yeah, they were just sad and depressing to say. Where they,
like the last one was like Tuesday or something.
yeah, where they had, parents were getting money from the government to, help with the raising of their children, because raising children is expensive and people might not make it with their income. So they got money from the government. Then their system labeled them as a fraud without, proper checking and everything. Which meant that they suddenly had to pay like 20,000 euros, for example, which of course they didn't have, which meant that children were taken away because they were seen as an unfit parent, or they were in massive debt. So in order to alleviate some of the victims, they put in a sort of break on like the income tax and everything. Just like you're gonna get slightly more money to get back on your feet. Well, apparently that has gone wrong as well.
What a surprise.
Because their debt got, for something, the debt got even higher.
Great.
How I don't even understand how that's possible.
Well, they would get a break for like 1 year. But then COVID-19 came in.
Yes.
And as you all know, COVID-19 sort of ruined everything and put a whole lot more stress on everybody. And yeah, and that pause lasts a lot longer. And apparently they had to pay back all the remaining stuff in one go. So once again, they got a letter saying, "We are the government. You owe us a lot of money." After having their entire life destroyed by pretty much the same letter, the same kind of letter. So in trying to help them, the government just gave them more debt.
Ain't that great?
Yeah.
You gotta, as a government, you gotta make money somehow.
Countries, in my opinion, from what I understand, countries are...
I don't think this is the method, though, just to be clear.
Yeah, countries are never making money.
It's certainly a method.
Like, when has a country ever made money? Made a profit? Spend less than they've got.
When countries were still monarchies, that was the case.
Yeah, but what was the quality of life then?
Very
Completely
good if you were the
dependent on where you're
monarch.
talking about.
Yes.
Like, unless you were someone of status, the quality of life was bad.
That is not necessarily true.
Not necessarily, but most likely. If you're part of
No.
the... Well, it all depends.
Most likely.
But, there's still a chance, if you don't have a lot of money, that there aren't really going to be anybody helping you and you're just left to work. Like, there aren't any, like, social systems in place to help you. But that is just, countries not making a profit to me just makes sense. Because, it's more like providing a service. Services aren't supposed to be making money. Same with trains and public transit. That isn't supposed to make money. Transit systems aren't aren't supposed to be.
Suspense.
Well, even in Japan, where, public transit is big. Like, Japan is really good with their public transit. Even they heavily rely on station stores to pay for a bunch of stuff. Because on tickets alone, unless you make them really, really, really expensive, they aren't going to be the one making money. And even if they make it really expensive, like here in the Netherlands, that they still aren't making money. They still are still losing money. Because people see it as a company instead of a service that is provided. Yes, it might cost money. Like some of it, but not ridiculously high prices. Trains, buses, trams, metros. Sure they can cost a little bit, but they are not supposed to cost a bunch. Oh, come on, a UFO right here, seriously.
The way. Maybe it's also time to end the episode.
Let me first look at stuff.
Oh, so.
We've been going for a while.
1.5 hours. Mainly me ranting about stuff.
What do you mean? I've been here like half an hour. It's fine.
And of course, we still. Ah, my throat has been annoying me all week. But we still haven't talked about the the disaster that is still unfolding after the release of the Epstein files, part like whatever.
Right.
Because the UK is apparently struggling because some of their politicians were in there.
Oh.
Yeah. It's still weird to me that actual, like, the things that have been exposed is just ridiculous. And apparently there are only like 2 monarchies not named. And apparently the Dutch one isn't in there, so good job to our king and queen. They are not weird people that want to touch children. It's sad that I have to walk around, that I'm automatically thinking, well, we're on a platform, so I should probably try and avoid the words.
No,
Which is,
you shouldn't.
yeah, I should. Like the things like unalive or, words like that, just no. Just call it killing or death. Just name it, call it what it is. That prevents a lot of confusion as well. Everybody knows what you're talking about. Nobody's thinking, what do they mean? And you get to, say what you want to say instead of dealing with weird algorithms on platforms that.
Well, it's also like a matter of respect, to be honest.
As in saying what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true as well. Not that you're saying it. Because you're not skirting around the problem, you're just saying it how it is and not avoiding. Especially in regards to things like suicide, for example. If you just keep avoiding the problem, then it's only going to get worse. But if you address the problem and actually try and solve it, then you get where you need to go. Communication, solutions, buzzwords, more buzzwords, all that stuff. To get any potential people that only listen to those interested. Like, if you have clear communication and just clear goals, then and not be afraid to talk about random or like sensitive and potentially sad subjects, people will also have a lot more respect towards you. You can show more respect towards them. You can actually address the problem and think of a potential solution that benefits everybody, at least, or at least benefits most people. Because especially in regards to people, no solution is perfect. You can't satisfy everyone, but you can satisfy the majority. And I guess if nobody else has anything to say on that motivational quote, I'd like to say a final thing. And that is that after I've stopped my car, that is, we're not experts.
But we were here.